Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is Sam and we are back again with another one. So if you have been watching my YouTube shorts, you could see that I gave a hint over my next topic that I was going to be covering when we are talking about some things that I want to talk about. Because if you look at what I was talking about the last time, I kept on emphasizing the fact that I didn't want people to force themselves to try to fit into a circle of friends or even into a community where you don't feel appreciated or where you're not even seen as a human being. So I just thought that I give a hint over what I was going to talk about, especially in the last video that I did. So if you go check it out, you might actually connect the dots and actually find out where I'm coming from. So today, what I'm talking about this week, what we are talking about, it's about value and self-worth. So we're going to be talking about how people should learn to value themselves and give themselves the worth that they deserve as people. Because people can take advantage of people who don't really understand how important they are. So when we talk about what I'm going to be covering today, I'm going to try to tell you how much you should always learn to value yourself as a person, and how much you can do so much for yourself so that people treat you with the respect you deserve. You have to understand that this is very important. It's the respect you deserve because you are just living. It's not because it comes to the elite or the people who are high or what. It's the respect you deserve as a person. I want to give you an example. Okay, let me take a piece of paper from the book that I have in me. Let me take a piece of paper like this. If you look at this piece of paper, just look at this piece of paper, or maybe from this side. If you look at this piece of paper, it's so fine. It has value it can offer. I can use this pen of mine and just write some things on it. So it means this paper has value. So I can use it to do whatever I can. So it goes with money. If you have 100 puller or maybe what, there's value. But with this paper that I have, that I'm saying it has value. If every day I do this today, it still has value, but it has a crack. Then the next day, I do this again. When you look at it, it still has value, but there are now two cracks. Then the third day, I do this. When you look at it from outside, you still feel like it has value, but can you still use it for what you want to use it for? Then the next time I come and do this again, now you can now start to see that it's losing the value that this paper could offer. I can no longer use it because it's now into pieces. And that's how human beings we are as people. The fact that you can say that I will let somebody insult me and not try to fight and stand for my respect, or I will let somebody insult me like I'm not even there, and it doesn't even bother me, and just allow something like that to happen and not say anything, that has to send as a red flag to you, because that you need to find yourself. And some tools that I'm going to talk about into these videos could be the tools you need in life to actually understand, to learn how to value yourself as a person, to look at yourself in the mirror and understand that you are somebody who's worth respect. Learn to acknowledge the critics that are happening within you. Oh, what are you talking about, Sam? Now you're just talking about how we should learn to not allow people to take advantage of us. I didn't say other people's critics. I said your inner critics. Learn to acknowledge them. Why am I saying that? There's always this voice within you that sometimes gives so much negativity to a point that if you just allow it to keep playing around your head, it can destroy you. But if you learn to acknowledge that, okay, it's gonna say this, but how can I be able to use that into betterment of myself and actually level myself up? How can I take advantage of this criticism? Because sometimes the criticism comes, especially the one you give yourself, comes from the fact that you are seeing that other people are doing something like this and you could have done it like this. So you are able to pick up the hints of how you can try to betterment yourself. It's very important. So what I'm saying that when criticism comes, Don't try to ignore it, because it will keep repeating and playing in your mind, and it will destroy you mentally. Acknowledge the criticism that, okay, I see that there's a problem there, and I know that I can work on it. The one thing that is so special about all of us as human beings, we have this power. I call it the grand power that God gave us, that we can take a particular problem and we can turn it into something amazing if we just work on it. So learn to acknowledge that the criticism will come, especially from you, and learn to deal with them the better way. My second point is learn to receive compliments. Learn to receive compliments. I'm going to give you an exercise, especially on the second point. I want you to look at yourself, how you handle yourself whenever somebody is complimenting you. Are you going to be the person who just goes, okay, thank you very much, okay? Or you're going to be the person who be like, oh, no, it's okay. Just try to hold things so that things doesn't escalate because somebody is giving you a compliment, and you're working by all means to try and stop the person to do that. Because as human beings, we have the problem of not trying to take attention of the whole entire room. We hate it, and usually whenever a person is complimenting us, it feels like we are becoming the center of attention, and we fear that. So because when somebody is giving us the compliment, we try by all means to stop the person from speaking, and you find that sometimes when you do that, you haven't received the compliment came, but you left it in the thin air. One thing we are looking for is the power of positiveness, and sometimes accepting and receiving a compliment from a person can help build that little baby within you, the soul within you, to believe that it is worth more than what is up there. So learn to receive compliments, because it's very, very important how much it can help you to deal with whatever that comes, because you know that somebody gave you a compliment about this thing. You can even do more as you could move on with life. Number 3, be grateful for the effort that you put. We have lived in a society where we are graded for everything that we're doing. We go to school, if we don't perform like this, we are not good enough. We are not seen as good enough if we don't do so well according to the school laws. So that has created that weirdness in ourselves, that we are not even able to acknowledge what we are doing if it's not a path. You understand what I'm saying? I'm in a class, and my neighbor gets a straight A. Wow, amazing. I'm happy for the person. But the problem is this: I got a D. He got an A. So what does that mean? Who's gonna be praised between the guy with an A or the guy with a D? Of course, the guy with an A. That's how the society set it up. If you don't pass in your school, you're a failure. If you don't do that, if you do pass, you are the best. But guess what? That also creates this weird loop in our minds, in our body, that we now start to believe that if things are not giving us the results we expect, then we are not doing anything and we are not good. And that is a problem, because whatever you are trying to achieve in life, if you cannot acknowledge the effort you are putting into anything, then you will never achieve anything in life. And that is a fact that people always have to understand, that we are never going to get things to be perfect. We are never going to make anything perfect the way we want it. We can only do if we learn to acknowledge that we are doing something. So what I'm saying to you, be grateful for every energy you are putting out to produce something, because if you don't do it, no one will. No one will. All the people who have done it in life, they will tell you that they had to learn to be happy for themselves first before the whole world could join them. So learn to acknowledge the little effort